Sorrel, thank you very much for tuning in. So today we're taking a look at my favourite 22 action figures from the year 22. I thought it was only good to do 22 for the year 22. So today we're going to be taking a look back at some of my favourite action figures of this year, most of which are on display in this room, to be honest, when I was making the list. And I was very surprised at where I put things in my list. Not sure if anyone can maybe guess what the best figure of the year is already. If you want to have a guess, leave us a comment down below and see if you're right at the end of the video. But today we're going to be, as I say, we're going to take a look at the top 22 action figures of 22. Stupid stutter. But we'll take a closer look at some of these figures because I'm really excited. As we're moving towards 2023, I've got some great ideas for the channel, got some big things happening. We're going to Florida in a week's time. What better way to kick off the new year on the channel than with a trip to Orlando and toy hunting I can do out in America. Woo! Excited for it. But guys, stay tuned. We've got a great video ahead. It might be a little bit long, but stick around and see if you are right, which is my favourite figure of the year. And like I say, leave us a comment, see if you're right. Let's jump straight in at number 22. Coming in at number 22, it's the Retro Ghost Rider. I was dying to get my hands on this figure when it was announced, and it is so good. But it is a re-release and a repaint, but it was definitely something I wanted in my collection. I still have the original Ghost Rider, as you guys know. He's just sat over here. And I do have my original Ghost Rider, so this was just an additional rider for me. I know a lot of people needed this because they missed out on the first run, or they weren't collecting when the original one came out. The re-release is nice, and it did give us the alternate head as well, and gave us some nice new looking accessories. So a great figure all round, and definitely one of the better figures of this year from Marvel Legends. Coming in at number 21, it's McFarlane's Neytiri from Avatar. Definitely one of the best Avatar figures I've ever seen. I love this figure so much. When McFarlane announced they were doing an Avatar line, I got really excited. Just because I don't remember many figures coming out the first time round when the film originally first came out. So the fact that McFarlane went back and gave us the original Avatar figures as well as the Way of Water figures was just great. And I really do like this Neytiri. I think it captures it perfectly from the movie. She's going to be coming with me back to Orlando so I can take some amazing photos in the world of Pandora, because she's just too good not to use in action figure photography, and definitely worth having in the collection. Coming in at number 20 was the Joy Toys Arkham Commandos. The Joy Toys were a toy line that I got sent thanks to Joy Toy, the Arkham Commandos from Warhammer. They are an amazing action figure, and I've had countless hours of fun with them since I bought them. They are amazing. Yes, the sizing is a little bit off compared to other action figures in my collection. However, I do love the fact that when you put these bad boys with like plunderlings and stuff, they just look like they belong. And yeah, you can shove any figures with these and they just look awesome. These guys make amazing henchmen for action figures as well. So either way you play with them, they're just awesome. And yeah, they really surprised me this year. I didn't think I was going to enjoy that line when I got the option to be sent them. I was kind of like on the fence about it. I was like, would I enjoy them? But then I got these orcs in hand, and oh my god, I'm never looking back. These orcs are amazing. And now I need the final 3 to round out my Orc Commandos, boys. Number 19 is Prince John from the Super 7 Disney Ultimates line. This again was a figure that I was really excited to get. But then I changed into doing just predominantly Star Wars action figures. So when I changed back towards the end of this year, and I started collecting a little bit of everything again, I hunted down these Ultimate figures, and the Pinocchio one kind of disappointed me. However, John definitely did not. And the fact that he comes with 2 alternate versions of Sir Hiss, 3 different heads, crowns that are removable, the robe is actual cloth. Oh, there are so many great things to love about this figure, and I cannot wait to get Robin Hood to go with him. So yes, Super 7, I hope you continue to make Robin Hood figures because it is one of my favourite Disney films of all time. But I'm also looking forward to Big Bad Wolf next year. So this line, I hope it continues to go strong because you guys know I love me some Disney action figures. Coming at number 18, it had to be on the list somewhere. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Lightning Collection Power Rangers crossover Shredder, where Shredder has the Dragon Power Coin. This figure was, when it came out, everyone wanted it, and it's just awesome. And it took a while to track down. Obviously, you guys, like I say, I was doing Star Wars predominantly at the beginning of the year, so I missed out on this guy initial round. But I managed to grab him from a local comic book store near me for a good deal of about 20 quid. So I'm a happy boy. But this figure is awesome and definitely worth having. Especially with the rest of the range as well, because that all came out at B&M this year here in the UK. So as you guys know, I do have the rest of the collection over there. It's rude not to have Shredder when you have the Turtles. So I had to grab him. And he's just an awesome all-round figure. I love the fact that they gave him a cloth cape. Now, if Hasbro could just maybe do a regular line of Turtles, that would be cool. But I don't think they'll ever get that license off of Playmates. If you want to see him say his name 3 times, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice! The BST AXN cartoon version of Beetlejuice. This was a surprise this year. This was a great figure. I know it got announced, and I never thought it'd be as good as what it could look like on paper. But it does. It absolutely does. So this is Beetlejuice from my childhood. This is what I remember on Cartoon Network when they made cartoons based upon Tim Burton's movie. And this is how he looked in it. And he was mental. And it's an awesome figure that represents that cartoon. Now, if BST AXN have made this figure, do you think we'll ever see other figures from that era? So, like, they made, like, Dumb and Dumber the cartoon. They made Ace Ventura the cartoon. They made so many inappropriate cartoons for kids based on adult movies. And I'd love to see Loyal Subjects do all of them in this same cartoon style so they all go together on your shelf. Because that would be amazing. But either way, I hope they do Lydia and many more from the cartoon because it was a great cartoon. At 16, we have the DC Multiverse Killer Croc. Now, this guy was my first of the Mega Figs line, as they call them, from DC Multiverse from McFarlane, and they did not disappoint. This figure is amazing. With a nice closed fist, open palm hand, we've got plenty of things going on here that we can use. My only wish was we got an alternate head, which was an open mouth snapping head, because after all, he is meant to be a killer croc. This figure is amazing and has plenty of articulation. I just wish they continued the detailing when they made Man-Bat. Man-Bat came with 2 closed hands, and if you ever want a figure with an open palm hand, it's definitely Man-Bat. And then they made Bane with 2 closed fist hands instead of open palm hands, so we could actually do something with the figure. So, Killer Croc was definitely the winner of the Mega Figs for me. And this figure definitely is worthy having on your shelf, especially if you've got the new Arkham series of figures. He fits right in with that collection, and he is huge. At 15, we have NECA's Leonardo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universal Monsters crossover line. One of my favourite of this series, although there is another one higher up than this guy. But this guy is cool for the accessories he came with and the amount of detailing that went into this one. Great figure overall. I love the fact that his shell doubles up as his laboratory, which can be opened up like that and have all the things stored in it. So I've got all the accessory pieces in my storage bit for now. But yeah, the figure itself is just so good and definitely detailed and worth having on the shelf. I just love the detailing that went into making this thing. He was so cool. I remember the Monsters line from the Turtles back in the day, and I know this is not a direct recreation of that, as they've got new figures, new characters, and they've done various versions of them over the years. I'm glad to see something like that returning with NECA, and let's hope to see if they make something else, like another crossover line in the future. Number 14, it's Krampus. He was a spur-of-the-moment figure for me. He wasn't a figure I was ever planning on grabbing, but after the Headless Horseman, I was bitten by the bug, and I didn't get Santa. I missed out on Santa. So I couldn't justify the price of the Santa after grabbing the Horseman, and then this guy came out, and he was a lot more reasonably priced, and he was already in the UK from Emporium of Cool, so I was like, yeah, we'll grab him. And you know what? Not disappointed at all. He is amazing. Loads of detailing, loads of articulation. I've got to admit, I do prefer the red version over the original release black version. I do like the red because I love those blue eyes as well. They're really piercing. And I think you see all the definition in the muscles, all the vein work, everything. You see it a lot more defined in the red than you do with the black, in my opinion. Either way, Krampus is now officially on my shelf thanks to Four Horsemen Studios, and he's coming in at number 14. Coming in number 13, it's Valorverse Sergeant Slaughter. Valorverse, the Action Force line with Big Bad Toy Store, and I think Power got the first line in, but many retailers have now started getting these in the UK, and they are awesome. This is my first dipping the toe in of the Action Force line, and I cannot wait to get more. There's a bunch of them that I really want to get. Sergeant Slaughter I had to get first because I missed out on the Hasbro version, the pre-orders and stuff. I missed out on that one. And I refused to pay the 50 odd quid they're looking for him, especially when this guy is available in the exact same style for a little bit less. So I may just get the Valorverse version. And it scales with the regular G.I. Joes anyway. So yeah, I think that definitely needs looking at. Obviously Valorverse had the rights to make Sergeant Slaughter, and then obviously G.I. Joe did as well, and both figures came out very close together, really, within the same sort of year. A bit weird. But Sergeant Slaughter is so iconic with the G.I. Joe line that whether he's in Action Force or G.I. Joe, he just fits in. He's an awesome looking figure, and definitely one that I wanted for the collection for a long time. As soon as I saw the announcement, I was like, yeah, I'm having that. And the fact that Valorverse gave us this version, which is the sleeved, he's got the jacket on and stuff, it was different to the Hasbro's launch, so I'm definitely grabbing it. The Hasbro one feels more to do with the... he's more proportional to his, cartoon appearances, whereas this one feels more realistic. But I don't know, which is your favourite? Do you prefer the Valorverse or do you prefer the Hasbro? Let me know in the comments. Next up at number 12, it's Japanese Spider-Man. Marvel Legends Japanese Spider-Man. I was dying for this figure when it first got announced, but then with the price hikes and everything, it kind of spoiled it for me, but it is still a really good Spider-Man action figure, so I had to grab it. I grew up with kind of the weird and wonderful world of Japanese Spider-Man because of VHS videos. When I was a kid, you could get the VHS Japanese Spider-Man stuff from the local video store. So I ended up renting them and watching them and falling in love with Japanese Spider-Man. I love the fact that he came with his little wrist gauntlet and he could call the big mech monster thing to fight the big baddies. It was basically Power Rangers with Spider-Man. Such a weird and wonderful era of Marvel. But I'm glad that he's finally getting the representation he deserves now, with obviously Into the Spider-Verse and everything like that. It's great to see that we are going to get more merchandise based on the randomness that is Japanese Spider-Man. Next up is Arkham Penguin. Now this guy, he had to make it to the list. Look at him. This is probably the best modern representation of Penguin we've had in so long. He's an Arkham Penguin as well, which makes it even better. I love the Arkham games. Such a great figure. And you guys know, if you've been around the channel for a long time, I have a bit of an affinity when it comes to Penguin. I'm a bit addicted to the character. I love him. He's one of my favourite villains from Batman's Rogue Gallery. Ever since I saw Batman Returns as a kid. It's just such a great figure and a definite brilliant representation. And I've got to say, from announcement to having it in hand, McFarlane do have that down. I love the fact that figures get announced and we get them pretty quickly. It's very rare that they have them dragging their feet. Unlike, Marvel and stuff where we kind of still waiting nearly a year later for some figures. It really does feel like McFarlane announced them and get them out fast, and that's what I love. This got announced and I got it within a few months. It was great. Coming in at number 10, it's John Constantine. Now, this to me is probably the best DC Multiverse figure of the year. The likeness to him is brilliant. The clothing, the outfit, everything worked really well. He is such an awesome character. I've never had a John Constantine, and this is definitely one of the best ones they've done. This is DC Multiverse again, part of the Peg Punchers series for the 6-inch line. They did this one. There was a Black Adam, a Superman, and a Batman. But yeah, John Constantine, man, such an underrated character in DC, and I really love this figure so much. The only thing that they missed, putting a cigarette in between his fingers. That was the only thing for me that they missed out, because Hellblazer, he was always smoking. So we definitely need a cigarette for him. But other than that, I knew they wouldn't do that because of kids and stuff, but still. It's an adult collectible. I want the cigarette bit. Same with Logan when they never release him with a cigar, but there you go. Promote smoking and bad stuff, so they're never going to do it. But still a great figure, and like I say, this is probably my favourite DC Multiverse figure of the year. Next up is G.I. Joe's Classified Series Iron Knife. For me, this series went from strength to strength in 2022. And the figures just got better and better. In fact, I have been collecting them pretty solid this year. And Iron Knife is definitely up there as one of the best. The face sculpt on him was so nice. The fact that they modernised the figure to make him, more realistic and modern. I love all his weaponry. He's got his ceremonial like knife and stuff. He's got the sidearm, another knife. He's just a great figure overall, and he looks amazing. I really loved everything about this figure. And the fact that he came with the eagle as well was cool. G.I. Joe have been knocking animals out of the park this year, from alligators to wolves to eagles. They've done so much, and G.I. Joe definitely should win a category all on their own, just for the amount of animals they've put out this year. But Iron Knife for me was definitely one of those figures that definitely deserved to be in the top 10. Next up is Hasbro's Victory Royale series from Fortnite, and this is Punk. He came as a part of Series 5 in the waves, and he is probably one of my favourite of the Fortnite figures they've ever done. Admittedly, I'm a bit biased. You guys know I love Halloween, so a pumpkin figure is always going to be high up there for me. But the detailing that went into, from the orange to match all the jumpsuit and stuff, all the way down, they just made him look cool. He's just an all-round awesome character. And even if you swapped out that head for another one and used the pumpkin elsewhere, it's still a cool-looking figure. I really love the way this figure looked, and I definitely had to have it from the moment it was announced. They also did Peely in this one as well. It was the Centurion Peely. There's some great figures in that wave, all of which are available currently right now on Amazon. But yeah, I grabbed my Punk early. I paid a little bit extra for him on Amazon, but you know what? I'm glad I did, because he's definitely one of my top figs of the year, and one of my favourite pickups of the year as well. Just such a cartoony looking figure, but he fits in with all my lines. I love him so much. Coming up at number 7, it's Zombie Wonder. Zombie Wonder is my favourite Marvel Legends of 2022 as well. This, when it was announced, I was all over instantly. I mean, it was cool that we got Captain America, he was a cool zombie, and it was very cool that we got Iron Man. But when they announced Wanda, that was just something next level. The Wanda in the cartoon was just so menacing and just hard to defeat, a villain really. She was kind of the villain of the piece, and she just looked awesome in this zombie form. Definitely needs a flight stand, not gonna lie, I don't like her standing, I do prefer her on a flight stand. But she is awesome, with that hairpiece going all over the place. Get her on a flight stand and she just looks amazing. Who's your Marvel Legend of the year, guys? Let me know in the comments. Moving on to our first Black series of the list, and it's Darth Maul from the Clone Wars. We were needing this updated version of Darth Maul for so long, so to finally have him in hand was amazing. Whilst it is basically the same as the torso revealed version, just with a few new pieces, it's still awesome enough to warrant its own fig, and we needed him. It was a figure we needed. The chest, the one with the chest out was awesome, but we needed the robes and stuff to make him into that final series version of Darth Maul, just so we could have him with his flanked by his Mandalorians and stuff like that. It's just a great figure. Plus, you put a hood on this, and you can easily have him as the version in Rebels as well. Ezra, help me, Ezra. Either way, this Darth Maul, he's high up on my list. One of the best figures of the year from Star Wars for sure. Alright guys, we are cracking the top 5 now, and I'm starting here at number 5 with Playmate's version of the last Ronin Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figure. This figure is awesome. I know NECA made one this year, which is definitely awesome, but I've yet to review it, so it is not warrantable for this list, although I will be reviewing it very soon. However, the Playmate's version, I'm not going to lie, I love the Playmate's version because of how it's made. It's sculpted to look like the original Turtles I had in hand as a child. And that's what gives me nostalgic feels about it. Whilst it's something new, it's very familiar. And that's what I love about this figure. If you have the chance between getting this one and the NECA one, NECA figure is great if you want to pose it with other figures and make action figure photography. However, if you're wanting to go that nostalgic route, and if you're an old school TMNT collector, then this Playmates version is definitely the way to go, as it fits in with all your retro style Turtles. And it just fits the aesthetic of this being the last of the Turtles stories. So, definitely worth grabbing, and this is my version of the Ronin that I love the most, to be honest, the Playmates version. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments. Number 4. Coming at number 4, it's Michelangelo. This is from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line, crossed over with the Universal Monsters. This is Mikey as the Mummy. One of my favourites from the crossover line this year. It is awesome. And yeah, I had to grab it. I'm just waiting on Van Helsing, aka Splinter, to arrive over the next coming days. And then hopefully very soon we'll have the Phantom of the Opera, Casey Jones, and Donatello, the Invisible Man in hand. These figures are awesome, and I'm loving the love that Universal Monsters are getting this year. And it was great to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossing over with Universal Monsters, just like they did in my childhood with action figures. So Michelangelo was my favourite of this line so far. I was a big fan of the NECA Mummy when that came out, the Boris Karloff Mummy. So it was definitely going to be my favourites when it came out in this form as well. Number 3, and definitely my overall favourite Black Series figure of the year, it's Ayla Sakura. I've been lobbying for this figure for years. I've been asking and asking and asking for this figure for so long. And when she came out, she did not disappoint. I love the face sculpt on this figure. It is definitely face sculpt of the year for me. I just love the skin tone colours. Everything about this figure is just awesome. She looks gorgeous. It's a great figure. She is one of my favourite Jedi from the Clone Wars, and I just had to have her, guys. She just looks so cool. And she came on that Attack of the Clones packaging as well. Yeah, definitely need her in the collection. If you haven't got her, please go grab her. I think this she'll be worth in time because of that. I just think she's one of the better looking figures we've had this year. And she is my favourite figure from Star Wars of 2022. Is number 2 going to be a no-brainer? It's Elvira. You guys should have known this was going to be on the list at some point. I'm a big fan of Elvira from my childhood. Growing up, watching Elvira's spooky intros to many horror movies, this NECA figure really does capture the likeness and the look of Elvira. With alternate head sculpts and things like that, and did plenty of accessories, she was just a great figure from NECA this year. Just wish they made a deluxe version that came with the couch, because I'm now having to look for a third-party couch for her to sit on. She really needs a re-release with the couch piece. I think that would be a great accessory for her. It's just such an iconic look to have her laid across that couch. So if anyone knows where you can get one of those, like third-party, please let us know in the comments below. But before we move on to number 1, let's have some honourable mentions. While she didn't make it to the list, April O'Neil from the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universal Monsters line was a great figure this year. I made some great photography photos with her and Frankenstein, whilst I currently wait for the Bride of Frankenstein NECA figure to drop here in the UK. She's a great addition though to the collection, and she looked great with Frankie, I'm not gonna lie. I can't remember exactly when this came out, I can't remember if it was this year or last year, but Count Chocula, I finally have you in hand this year. And you did not disappoint. Such a great figure. And speaking of new action figures that I finally got in hand this year, gotta give props to Plunderlings as well. This figure really, really, really amazed me this year. And yeah, it was one of my favourite action figures that I got to play with this year. I've got so many figures, it's so hard just to choose a top bunch. But as you can see, I've got so many on display. There are so many more Star Wars ones that could have made the cut. So many of them, including BK, Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, all of the Inquisitors from this year. We had some great figures this year. So many figures that could have been in this line. And a big props to Diamond Select for sending through some amazing action figures this year as well for us to review. Some great stuff came out this year, but not all of them could be number 1. Also, I couldn't have Spider Noir in the top the top figures of this year, even though I wanted it to, because I highly customized my version. I used the new head with the new hat and stuff like that, the new glasses, and I used the old body, and then I used a cape piece from a Michael Morbius figure from the 90s, because I didn't like the big swishy cape that came with the new version. But I will go into this figure in more detail as a part of my Kit Bash Customs video review series that I'll be doing in January, so I will go into more detail about him then. But just because I've heavily customized him, I didn't feel like I could feature the figure in my top figures of this year. It probably comes as no surprise that means number 1 is the Headless Horseman. He's the worst. The Headless Horseman was an amazing action figure, and it gave me the bug to go out and collect this series of action figures. The Four Horsemen Studios, Mythic Legions, whatever you want to call them. I've been bitten by the bug now, and their seasonal figures are awesome, and I can't wait for next year to dive into a whole new line of action figures thanks to this series of figures, because the Headless Horseman I had to get. Krampus was amazing, and I even started grabbing some other mythics, and I've been bitten by the bug, guys. I think they're awesome. But this definitely, for a limited release this year, was my favourite action figure of 2022. So guys, what are your thoughts on my list? Do you agree with my list? What's your list? I'd love to know your favourite top 22 action figures from 2022 as well. And just thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've had a great year. Hope you've had a wonderful Christmas, got everything you wanted, had plenty of food and drink, and I hope you're ready for the year ahead in 2023, because I know I am. Kickstarting the year with Florida is probably my favourite thing on the planet. I really can't wait for that now. We're just around the corner from going to Orlando. It's going to be awesome. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful new year. I will probably post some videos over the new year now that I'm recovering from my cough and cold. And I'll probably post a few more videos this week. Also, don't forget we have the Geek Week in Review podcast on Jacob's Toys channel on Sunday night. And we will be looking back at the year in review there as well. Guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, I'm your host, Superstar, and I'll see you in the next video. But until then, may the Force be with you.